I noticed a large percentage of height speakers have the woofer at the top. I'm currently running bookshelves as heights. Would it be beneficial to run them upside down? No, I don't think so. Joe and I have had this discussion plenty of times.
Well, a lot of the ones that people use are like the SVS prime elevations, and the reason you can't turn it upside down is because the angle. But now it would be pointing towards the ceiling, which you don't want. So if you're just using regular bookshelf speakers, the thing is you have to consider the sound that's coming down towards you, the direct-ish sound. But then also because it's near a ceiling, you got to consider the sound that's bouncing off that ceiling that's like right next to it, right? And then if it's in the corner, then you got to worry about the sound that hits the sidewall. So if it's not near a sidewall, then you're just looking at the sound that's coming directly towards you and whatever's being bounced off the ceiling. So I like the idea of using a concentric speaker because the sound that's coming towards you and the sound that's bouncing off of the ceiling, they're going to be pretty much the same, right? So that's why I like using concentric for the height, but there's not very many. There's like the Monolith THX compact satellite, but they can't get very loud.
Yeah.
Not an issue for me in most cases. And then I saw the Aperion something that's a little bit more expensive, and that's concentric. And then I think
Who researched one? Who researched?
Oh, dude, those are huge.
Yeah, they're huge.
Those are huge, bro.
Like that with the like yellow.
Huge, bro. They're huge.
That.
They're huge. You can't. I wouldn't trust that.
11 speaker Atmos setup with those.
Yeah, so I like concentric for heights just because we know that it's probably going to be near a nearby surface.
Yeah.
The problem with, let's say, a bookshelf speaker would be typically, Aaron, wouldn't you say like the above the tweeter is usually the worst response? Like there's going to be a dip?
Sometimes above the tweeter is actually better, but I really don't know. I would probably say most likely. Yeah.
Like, if you had to like just guess, we didn't know the speaker, and you said, would you rather be above the tweeter or below the tweeter?
Yeah.
It's a tough one.
Period. I mean, probably below it, but it depends on like where below.
So since
above it's probably not going to have a lot of sound at all. The further above it you go.
I found that when I'm doing like moving mic stuff, below the tweeter usually doesn't have that like a huge dip in there. Once you start going up, then I start seeing like a pretty big dip in the crossover region. Mm-hmm. So in that case, it might be beneficial for you to try the speaker so that the woofer is on top. Let me think. No, where the tweeter is on top. The problem again is that the worst axis, which is above the tweeter, is going to hit the ceiling also. Mm-hmm. I wonder if it'd be actually better to put a two-way speaker sideways.
Huh? You think so?
Sideways, so that like you're horizontally off axis this way, and the bounce that's coming off the speaker is hitting the ceiling. And then the bad axis is going to be like somewhere there and somewhere far. You know,
I've seen a lot of Atmos mixing setups where they do that for the heights.
Sideways. Yeah,
sideways. PMC's done it. Callie did it at that thing recently. So, I mean, I don't know.
Aaron's really the expert when it comes to the directivity stuff.
Yeah, vertically, it's kind of it just depends. I mean, I would say both of them could be equally bad. Honestly.
How about the speaker sideways though? So let's say
I would almost say never.
Never?
Sideways, but you're talking about a specific reason for maybe doing something with that?
Well, let's say this is the ceiling, right? I don't know how I could do this.
Sorry, I was just stretching my back. All right.
So you have a two-way bookshelf speaker, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And let's just say off-axis horizontally, it measures pretty well. Vertically, not so good. Yeah. So if it's up near a ceiling, and it's up high, you know that you're going to get some sound coming down towards you, right? The direct sound. But you also know that there will be an inevitable reflection off the ceiling.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
up and down. choice of being below the woofer or above the tweeter hitting the ceiling, or turn it sideways and then.
Yeah, but you can't move. You couldn't move left or right in the room, but vertically you'd have a more consistent response. What I mean is, with the speaker turned sideways, you'd have a more consistent response fanning down into the room, right? Possibly. I would just have to. You would have to think about where you sit in the room too, because then you could easily be sitting in a really terrible spot from side to side if you have multiple rows or multiple seats. So, but yeah, I see your logic there. I think that's reasonable.
I think my recommendation would be, if you have to use a two-way bookshelf speaker, put it sideways so that the horizontal off-axis response is similar, hitting the ceiling and directly towards you, and then have the tweeter facing like a wall that's far away, because that's probably going to be the worst response where you get a dip. So have the tweeter facing that way, and then the main listening position being more towards the bottom of the woofer.
Yeah.
That would be my recommendation. I don't know how it's going to look though, and I don't know if you can even do it because a lot of the mounts are for the width, and you might not be able to handle figure it out.
The weight. Now that
those monoprice coaxials or a cheap coaxial, put it back there and then mount a subwoofer to the wall right below it.
Now we know that Aaron is a Kef shill. He has no problem endorsing these guys right here.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
The only problem with these is,
hold on, does that say $750 each?
Yeah.
Why would anybody pay that much money for that?
Because it's Kef.
Dude, I don't care.
It's like a mini blade.
I don't understand that. That's ridiculous.
It'll match your blade. It's the high channel that'll match.
Pair. It says a pair.
I'm just like, even if
oh, does it say pair? Oh, it says something.
Yeah.
Okay, that's better. Still not great, but that's better.
The only reason why
it's expensive to me for an Atmos speaker, like
They're
for a speaker that has
400
limited bandwidth, doesn't have any bass, it's a small enclosure. I don't really understand, but that seems to be kind of the case. I've come across other Atmos type speakers that are, more than $500, $600, and I'm thinking, why? For what it is, why?
You can't use these for heights because oftentimes they have a specific crossover network that notches things out and has a weird frequency response that's made because they want it to bounce off the top.
Yeah.
You don't want to use that as a direct radiating speaker.
The response is fantastic. 105.
Yeah. It's interesting.
I'm just
Derek didn't like the SVS satellites for Atmos.
I just worry that satellite speakers in general are so band limited on bass. And then you have such a separation between those and a subwoofer. So the question is, do the satellites get, let's say, response sent to them below 100 hertz?
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you send it to them, why wouldn't you?
You see what I'm saying here, though? Like, if you told me that you're going to have a bookshelf that was 8 feet away from your subwoofer, and it was going to be 8 feet away, like vertically in the vertical plane, I don't understand.
Can you use bass management to make it sound like a cohesive over to the sub?
I would prefer to have a more like a speaker that extends lower, and can't get lower than 110 hertz or 100 hertz. To me, I just don't really get that. And the only reason I was saying was that maybe if we know the content is that low content is never sent to them, then okay, all right, that's fine.
So the heights can accept the full range signal. We're talking theoretical, and then there's the practical sense, right? So what we've found out, Sean and I, is those height speakers, if you really want something, you want to notice something happening there, it's probably not going to be low frequency content. You know what I mean? You can use all the other speakers for low frequency content. Even if you can put full range content up there, but it's more like if you want to notice something happening up above, it's probably going to be more higher frequency stuff in a practical sense, right?
I mean, at the end of the day, when you're making Atmos, there's no there's no like, I know FOMO brought it up. Oh, the mixers don't put anything with, higher than 100 hertz up there. I'm like, no, that's not true. You can put anything up there. You can put oboes, you can put bassoon noises, you can put all kinds of stuff up there.
Yeah.
And it just, the only thing that matters is the playback system if they properly bass managed. And if they haven't, then you're going to get that sound up there and it's not going to sound good. You run your high channels full range, you're going to get, should we do that, Joe? Should we do that and fuck with everybody? I mean, that would be kind of cool. Like, how did
bass stuff up there?
How does your high channel handle this?
Let's just put all LFE content up there.
Right? Everything like below 50 hertz and everything like that. Yeah.
Let's do one where we put all super low frequency up in the heights channels. And then for the LFE signal, let's just put like high frequency stuff and see if it comes through.
I found out at the thing that Dolby is now rejecting Atmos mixes where you don't put a cutoff on the LFE.
What 120? Yeah, but again, if you put bass in the height speakers, it's probably going to be also somewhat on your ear level speakers, right? Usually, but if you exclusively put some bass stuff in the height, I don't think you're going to say, "Oh, bass is coming from up top."
Yeah, it's just going to be like it's bass.
Yeah, bass is coming from this direction.
Yeah,
it's going to sound like that Bose one.
It could sound like sky fart.
Sky fart.
Make sure to join us every Monday for our live stream at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern at youtube.com/Daily HiFi.